Oh, sir, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We come together today, virtually of course, to recognize your extraordinary achievement. Graduation from a college or school of Columbia University and membership in the class of 2021. An achievement made all the more worthy of admiration and celebration by these extraordinary times. Commencement is always an amalgam of the familiar and the singular. There is ceremony and ritual repeated year after year, connecting us to generations of Columbians stretching long into the past. But it also brings us to a higher elevation than ordinary life and allows us to see better into the future. Poised at this moment, however, this rite of passage contains thousands of unique and personal stories of determination and exploration, of growth and self-discovery, of knowledge and expertise. Your stories, in other words. On behalf of the entire university, I offer our warmest congratulations. If we were assembling in person, this would be the moment when I would offer the graduates the opportunity to thank their parents, families, spouses, and loved ones, since no one arrives at this moment without their backing. Assembling virtually, we have the possible advantage of being able to do this not by distant applause, but by actual hugs. I therefore give you this moment to be together. Let me begin by saying something about the times we are in. Who among us does not feel unmoored? The flow of events, their scale and strangeness and sheer volume, posing one or another personal and societal challenge of obvious urgency, is overwhelming, and that is an understatement. It has been a searing experience for us all to be alive at this time. An incomprehensible mix of momentous change, wearing monotony, unfamiliar hardships, and at times inescapable sadness. Just focusing the mind becomes a challenge. And yet nothing can be more important right now than developing the power of intellect, which is the reason we came together here at Columbia as members of this unique community for this period of time. Never has society more desperately needed to reap the benefits of science, newly discovered knowledge, and the pursuit of truth. How otherwise can we possibly pretend to be sufficiently equipped to comprehend and to come to terms with the world to which we now bear witness? Just think about it. A pandemic that has spared no one. A crisis of democracy that is testing the viability of civic society. A racial reckoning that we must confront with the full force of our collective consciousness. The impact of potentially catastrophic changes in our climate already felt incessantly. And perhaps most sobering of all, the collapse of norms in intellectual and public life, the very mechanisms that we as a society rely upon to solve problems and to drive progress. In all my life, I have never seen anything like our current difficulties. I graduated from college in 1968, and Jean and I came to Columbia in that year. We all know the turbulence of that period, the political movements, the disruptions, the instabilities, and the dangers to the country. Everyone understood we were in the midst of a once-in-a-century upheaval, the type of turmoil that is often essential for real change to happen. But this is of a different order. So much of what we take for granted as basic conditions of life have been upturned. My own field of free speech is a prime example. A central premise of free speech ever since the Enlightenment has been that wide open public debate may produce bad and harmful speech, including falsehoods and lies and deceits and bigotry, but that the best and most effective remedy for this is to trust in good speech to answer and triumph. But now technology, especially in the form of social media, has called into question that optimism. Concerns over the exponential increase in bad speech and in the ways people communicate cast a shadow of doubt over a premise that has guided us for over 200 years. So this has been your new reality. Any one of these crises would have been plenty to deal with, all of them intersecting and occurring at once has displaced the world as we know it. And so I begin by acknowledging what you have lived through as a student at Columbia. Now, while it is important to understand and recognize how difficult this period of time has been for you, it is also the right moment to express our gratitude for universities, to Columbia in particular, and to the remarkable people who comprise our community and who make such important contributions to helping the world overcome just the sort of challenges we face today. I like to say, and do so frequently, that no rational process would lead to the design of a modern university. If that wasn't clear enough 14 months ago, today it borders on a cliché. As organizations, universities are as complex a structure as it gets, and yet they have survived and thrived over the decades and centuries. As if by some magical force, Universities nurture and take advantage of the human desire to know, to understand, and to share and make good that knowledge. Every day our lives are sustained and undergirded by discoveries from the Academy. Consider the past year. Vaccines followed experiments unlocking the basic elements of life. Guides for surviving a pandemic followed a century of study and preparations by public health experts. Treatments for viruses and other diseases were invented in academic medical centers and shared with the world. All the while, we have watched with enormous admiration and respect as month after exhausting month, Columbia's nurses, doctors, healthcare, and social workers persevere, selflessly devoting themselves to caring for the sick and those in need. They have waged a titanic effort to save lives and to support the most vulnerable among us, and they have earned our everlasting gratitude. Still other areas of challenge where universities demonstrate their uncommon worth. For example, the realities of climate change have been documented by earth scientists, beginning, I have to say, at Columbia University and our Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory. And responses have been imagined by social scientists and scholarly engineers. The conditions of democracy, including the principles of equality and freedom of speech and press, have been elucidated by legal scholars, political scientists, and journalism professors. And most importantly, the faculty in the humanities and the arts have helped us know who we are, how to live, and what to live for, especially when times are hard. Universities have stood as beacons of respect for truth, of reason and civility in the pursuit of truth, and of the idea that a good life can only rest on a foundation of these principles. Let us, therefore, take this moment to celebrate Columbia and all of our colleagues in universities all across the world. Now I want to say a few words about you, about being a student and graduating at this particular moment. There is no getting around the fact that this has been an astoundingly difficult period in which to be a student, and you have suffered. Yet it is also true that you have endured and responded to these challenges. Much of life is anticipating and preparing for adversity. Often we have only a vague sense of what it might be like. To have struggled through and ultimately overcome adversity on this scale is, in a way, an educational miracle. Extremes in life are no longer abstractions to you. You have met them, learned about life, and succeeded where you could. As students, you know that we learn both by study and by experience. In both, we learn best in cases of extremes. What we study is most often fashioned in the context of extremes. Shakespeare's plays, one example of many I could give, are not about usual times, they are about crises. And so it is across the intellectual spectrum, whether the study of disease or of legal cases. In extremes, human nature and life are fully revealed. Everything is more vivid and clear. Little is left to the imagination because what we need to know is right there before us, to grasp, to absorb, and to comprehend. In law, there is a famous saying that hard cases make bad law. With law, as with life, we seek stability. And when things are hard, they are complex and difficult to resolve in our minds. Hence, law from hard cases is inherently unstable. But life is different. We need and want to understand everything in its full complexity. That is the central and defining ambition of a university, to be able to hold everything, even ideas that are contradictory, in your mind simultaneously. When you are learning in times of extremes, that is what you get. So hard cases may make bad law, but hard times make sharp minds. All your life, you will draw upon and learn from the experiences you have just had. The period of time around 1968 was revolutionary in many respects, like today. I cannot tell you how many times I have said, I graduated from college and came to Columbia in 1968. And that statement reflects my sense of having been part of meaningful and historic experiences. I am sure you will do the same, saying, I graduated from Columbia in 2021. And you and everyone else will know what that means. It is profound. It will, to be sure, take time for the meaning and significance of this experience to reveal itself. Give it time. Be patient, and let the power of reflection and enlightenment take hold. We as an institution must do the same. Just as the Columbia class of 2021 will become a singular identity for all of you, you as a class will leave your unique mark on us as well. With the power of reflection and enlightenment, Columbia and all of us attached to it will adapt, evolve, and grow. And your place in our history will forever be sacrosanct. Thank you, and congratulations to you, the class of 2021.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Father, stay on rock eternal, round and set upon a high, glorified by light supernal, in thy radiance we see light. Torch thy children's lamps to kindle, beacon soft to cheer and guide. Stand, Columbia, alma mater,
is my distinct honor to present the administrative leaders of the various divisions of the university. They will, in turn, introduce candidates for degrees in their respective groups. These academic leaders have pursued our highest goals for pedagogy and scholarship with creativity, determination, and an unwavering commitment to excellence. I'm pleased to recognize each school and the outstanding accomplishments of their students. We celebrate each graduate with enormous pride. Thus, it's a special pleasure to now give the floor to the deans of Columbia University.
Mr. President, the candidates of the faculty of Columbia College have completed all of the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degree of Bachelor of Arts. But satisfying those most demanding requirements is only one of their accomplishments. These students have shown unflagging persistence in adapting to unpredictability and in responding to constant change. Wherever they were forced by circumstance to be, whatever their separation in space or time, however remote their classrooms, they committed themselves to their academic endeavors with enthusiasm undiminished. They never lost connection to Columbia, even when their Zoom connection failed. They lived the lessons of the core curriculum, their unique intellectual heritage, finding opportunity in adversity, building community in unprecedented ways, and contributing to their world as never before. There is no doubt of their achievement of the core competencies of creativity, imagination, resilience, civic and individual responsibility, teamwork and collaboration, and global awareness. They use these competencies to help solve the challenges of the moment, as I am confident they will do to solve the challenges that lie ahead. These graduates will bring immense honor and wide recognition to Columbia in all that they do. Please grant them this degree, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, the candidates of the faculty of the Fu Foundation School of Engineering and Applied Science have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Bachelor of Science, Master of Philosophy, Master of Science, Professional Degree, Doctor of Engineering Science, and Doctor of Philosophy. Here in New York City, across the country, and around the world, they are bringing the Columbia Engineering for Humanity vision to life. Though physically remote, they are united in Columbia's spirit. Through a challenging year, they have risen to the occasion. With their experience, their tenacity, their imagination, and their actions, they will help build a more sustainable, healthy, secure, connected, and creative world. These individuals have each been uniquely amplified by their Columbia experience. They are creating new materials and devices, designing and building robots, developing new microscopes and models to better understand our world, inventing processes to store energy and clean water, and discovering novel ways to heal disease and repair our bodies. They are making our online and offline realms safer and more secure, and creating new virtual worlds while expanding the limits of our own. With their spirits lifted up high and their hammers held high, this class of 2021 is electrically energized, biomedically inspired, chemically synthesized, computationally tractable, algorithmically advanced, civilly engaged, structurally sound, mathematically inclined, financially informed, industrially applied, operationally ethical, mechanically precise, environmentally aware, physically charged, and virtually indestructible. They are ready to seize the world. Please grant them these degrees, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
President Bollinger, it is my honor and my pleasure to present to you the brilliant, resilient, limitlessly intelligent, intellectually adventurous, and exceedingly compassionate Barnard College class of 2021. During an extraordinary 4 years, these students have met the challenges of college life and prevailed. They have led as activists and mentors, created and performed, earned honors and prestige, produced original research, and enhanced social discourse. They have excelled as scholars and citizens of the world. Unfailingly, their grace shined and their perseverance inspired. And they have done all this while creating a community of care, supporting one another with characteristic spirit. Their lives will now go in many directions, but I can assure you, at a time when the world desperately needs their rigorous thinking, their creativity, their courage, and their compassion, they are prepared to deliver and to confront whatever lies ahead. Mr. President, our Barnard graduates are ready to go out and change the world. These students have completed the requirements prescribed by the faculty of Barnard College for the degree of Bachelor of Arts. I ask that you grant them this degree along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, standing here in front of Lewison Hall and in these extraordinary times, I am deeply honored to present to you the highly accomplished candidates of the Columbia University School of General Studies class of 2021. These candidates hail from over 57 countries. We are so proud that the class of 2021 is comprised of 108 veterans of the U.S. Armed Services, one of the largest cohorts ever to graduate at an Ivy League university since World War II. Our GSers are simply amazing, with backgrounds in ballet and now biology, going from the Navy to neuroscience, from the runway to Russian literature, from the Marines to mathematics, from Broadway to business, and from community college to comparative politics. We have candidates from our innovative dual degree programs with Sciences Po, the City University of Hong Kong, and the Jewish Theological Seminary. We have parents and students who have excelled in the face of adversity, and many of these students are the first in their families to go to college. Our GS students follow a diverse and often non-linear path, complement life experience with intellectual abilities, and make Columbia truly unique and the Columbia undergraduate classroom like no other. Mr. President, these candidates have completed the requirements as prescribed by their faculty for the degree of Bachelor of Arts. As the first alumna dean of this exceptional school, I implore you, sir, that you grant them this degree along with the rights and privileges thereto attached. Thank you.
Mr. President, the candidates of the Faculty of Professional Studies have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degree of Master of Science. These candidates are leaders of influence, agents of change, entrepreneurs in business and spirit, global in outreach and impact, all poised to change the world through excellence in their professions. They have collaborated across time zones, completed their degrees from kitchen tables around the world, and we cannot wait to welcome them to New York City to celebrate their accomplishments. Please grant them this degree, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, I present to you the deeply talented candidates of the faculty of the School of the Arts. They have completed all the requirements prescribed for the degrees of Masters of Arts and Masters of Fine Arts. These artists have fortitude, and they will triumph in this very upended world. Mr. President, has there ever been a time when art and culture and the joy they bring have been more needed by society than now? So, I beseech you, Mr. President, let these candidates go and grant them their degrees with all the rights and privileges hereto attached.
Mr. President, the candidates of the Faculty of International and Public Affairs have completed the requirements prescribed by the faculty for the degrees of Master of International Affairs and Master of Public Administration. This has been a challenging period for the world and for the more than 600 members of SIPA's class of 2021, coming from all over the United States and 70 countries. Their lives have changed dramatically during their time at SIPA. So many have had to deal with dislocations and strains unimaginable when they joined us so joyously a couple of years ago. Yet I want you to know 3 things about our graduates and our shared experience. First, ours is the most global school of public policy, and during this period, our students have learned how interconnected the world is, how important it is for societies to develop sound and inclusive public policies that advance citizen health, support economic vitality, maintain peace and security, and protect and enhance our environment. Second, throughout this period, our students have met every obstacle with resilience, agility, and creativity, never allowing the difficulties to thwart their ability to engage with each other deeply through online and hybrid instruction, through intensive online convening and consultation, and working together on projects with local and global institutions and communities. And third, our graduates are committed to professional lives infused with public purpose. And I believe these years have strengthened that sense of purpose and equipped them with the intellectual tools and enhanced personal attributes needed to make a difference. Today, as they prepare to leave SIPA and Columbia University, they stand ready to contribute to a better world. They will be embarking on careers across the public, private, and nonprofit sectors as local and national government officials, as politicians, corporate leaders, as public officials in international organizations, as entrepreneurs, NGO leaders, and so much more. We are so proud of them and all that they have and will accomplish. The world needs their drive, their sense of mission and humanity, their expertise. Please grant them these degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, it is my great honor to present to you the newest graduates of the oldest School of Social Work in the country. They are advocates, agitators, and activists, working shoulder to shoulder with the most vulnerable among us. They have a vision for the future in which equity and human dignity are paramount, and they stand ready to make that vision a reality. I wish to honor this outstanding group of social workers, these champions of social justice, borrowing from a great songwriter. Though you always do for others, though your song may be unsung, I know you'll build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. Mr. President, the candidates of the Faculty of Social Work have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degree of Master of Science. Please grant them this degree, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, candidates of the 2021 graduating class did not shy away from treating patients in the midst of a pandemic that posed serious personal risks to them. They have proven to be resilient, helping to invent and adapt to a workplace that needed to be reconfigured in major ways. When it comes to biohazards, infection control, and personal protective equipment, Mr. President, members of the class of 2021 are epigenetically modified by our faculty to exceed in meeting all applicable safety standards, having passed random inspections by the city's health department with flying colors. These gifted men and women are exceedingly competent to treat mankind's first and 11th most prevalent non-communicable diseases that have bearing on many health conditions in other parts of the human body. They know all there is to know about pain, can manage it without reliance on opiate prescriptions, and feel secretly guilty when inflicting pain with their nasty, exquisitely sharp toys. The faculty of the College of Dental Medicine advised me that they no longer can keep up with their tempo and begged me to persuade you, Mr. President, to release them into the wild without any further delay. In agreement with the recommendation of the faculty of the College of Dental Medicine, I request, Mr. President, that you confer upon these environmentally tested men and women the degrees Doctor of Dental Surgery and Master of Science in recognition of their solid completion of all requirements.
Mr. President, the candidates of the Faculty of Business have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Master of Business Administration and Master of Science. In the short but eventful and disruptive period of the past year and a half, our graduates innovated, engaged, and excelled. They became entrepreneurs, starting over 40 companies, including a carbon-neutral clean beauty brand, a web-based career advancement platform, and a marketplace for underrepresented minority-owned businesses. They were socially minded and worked with over 20 nonprofit organizations, including Harlem Chamber Players, the Jericho Project, Fortune Society, and Our Children. They were engaged members of our local community, serving as counselors who provided financial, operational, and marketing advice to numerous companies in Morningside Heights and West Harlem, including Bottom Line Construction, Go Carry, and Black Widow Pest Control. And most importantly, in this past year, they preserved our strong sense of community by organizing over 780 events, both virtual and in person, from wine tastings, game nights, home workouts, and meditation sessions. Congratulations, graduates, you made it. Mr. President, please grant them these degrees, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, it is hard to recall a time when reliable journalism has been more important to the common good. During this miserable pandemic, journalists have thrown light on the dark corners of our public square. They have insisted that our elected leaders face scientific facts and answer for their shortcomings to the public. To the extraordinary professional reporters working in difficult and sometimes dangerous conditions to keep us all reliably informed, I can offer more than 150 talented and dedicated reinforcements, the Graduate School of Journalism's class of 2021. They have spent a hard, disrupted year on the streets of New York, in public parks, in plazas, at protests, anywhere they could cover the news or dig deeper, while keeping themselves and the people they report on safe. They came to class in person. They followed public health rules almost all the time. They took care of one another and found their way through a tough winter. Along the way, they internalized the highest values of their profession: independence, fairness, persistence, and a commitment to the public interest. They've also expanded their vocabularies. They know now that a slug is not only a mollusk, that a budget is not only a fiscal plan, that 30-30-30 is not only 90, and that it is better to be right than first. And so, Mr. President, in light of their great reliability, I request that you grant these candidates the master's and doctoral degrees they have earned, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
President Bollinger, I am proud to present the following candidates who have completed the requirements prescribed by the Faculty of Teachers College for the degrees of Master of Arts, Master of Education, Master of Science, and Doctor of Education. This group is a phenomenal array of freshly minted teachers, speech therapists, neuroscientists, technology developers, psychologists, choral directors, community health researchers, artists, economists, nutrition policy experts, nurse executives, and conflict negotiators. Yesterday evening, I had the privilege of presiding over a global celebration of these great future scholars and leaders whose knowledge, skill, and commitment to building a smarter, healthier, more equitable, and just world are needed now more than ever. Please grant them their degrees, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, the candidates of the Faculty of Architecture, Planning, and Preservation have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Master of Architecture and Master of Science. In this historical time of both profound rupture and tremendous momentum, our students have already affirmed that change is here. They are the change we have been longing for, an unstoppable, powerful, and inspiring wave that is recasting the foundations from which we can all together imagine, design, and build a more equitable, sustainable, and creative future shared across our shared planet. These students are at once visionary and grounded, scholarly and engaged, digital wizards and makers extraordinaires. They are artists and activists, theorists and practitioners, dreamers and builders. Their extraordinary skills render visible the invisible, drawing worlds together to reinvent our lives across all of the scales of the built environment. Their inspiring resilience gives us strength, their perseverance gives us willful optimism, and their incisive intelligence give us clarity of purpose. Please, Mr. President, let change unfurl and grant our students these degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, the candidates of the Faculty of Law have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Juris Doctor, Master of Laws, and Doctor of the Science of Law. As law students, they have learned that justice must be blind, administered impartially and without favor. But now, as they prepare to assume their legal vocation, they do so with eyes wide open. They know that law is a powerful tool in our complex world, but that it is only as wise as those who wield it. And these graduates, who will wield it, are wise. They are leaders and innovators. They are empathic. And they are fighters who carry on, persistent in the face of adversity. Here today, in the shadow of Alma Mater, we welcome these graduates with open arms into the global community of Columbia alumni, ready to follow in the footsteps of the generations of leaders in law who have come before them. I therefore beg that you grant them these degrees, along with the rights and privileges thereto attached. Congratulations, graduates.
Mr. President, the candidates of the Faculty of Medicine have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Doctor of Medicine, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Doctor of Occupational Therapy, Master of Science, Master of Science in Human Nutrition, and Master of Science in Genetic Counseling. We welcome these new healers into the health professions, including our first 11 students to receive genetic counseling degrees. The women and men graduating today are poised to help us improve health by taking excellent care of their patients, making groundbreaking discoveries that advance care, teaching future generations, and advocating for equity and justice because health is a fundamental human right. Please grant them these degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, the candidates of the Faculty of Nursing have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Master of Science, Doctor of Nursing Practice, and Doctor of Philosophy. They are the newest Columbia members of the country's most trusted profession. For the past 19 years, nursing has been ranked by the American public as the #1 most ethical and honest profession in this country. Our graduates will now join this profession and will impact the future health of this nation as expert practitioners, superb scholars and researchers, and excellent educators. Please grant them these degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
Mr. President, before you stand the world's future leaders for the public's health, socially committed, relentlessly global and locally grounded, politically astute, pandemic capable, with the knowledge to create healthy populations. They are diverse, kind, and stupendously brilliant candidates of the Mailman School of Public Health. Sir, these candidates, hailing from countries across the globe, should not be detained from their noble mission of improving health and preventing disease throughout the world. Our world needs them. They have completed the requirements prescribed by their faculty for the degrees of Master of Health Administration, Master of Public Health, Master of Science, and Doctor of Public Health. I beseech you, sir, to grant them these degrees along with the rights and responsibilities thereto attached.
Mr. President, before you stand the candidates of the faculty of the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences who have completed the requirements prescribed by that faculty for the degrees of Master of Arts, Master of Philosophy, Doctor of Philosophy, and Doctor of Musical Arts. Some of them have been toiling and disciplining themselves for many years in order to reach this day in which they will be granted the highest degree offered by this world-renowned house of learning over which you preside. On the way here, they have discovered that they are doctors but do not heal, that they are masters but with no servants, and that instead of the musical arts, some of them have been tempted to use the arts of the occult to finish their dissertations. But finish they have, sir, to their great joy and to the even greater relief of their relatives and friends who never could understand that the fate of the universe does in fact hinge on finding the precise adjective to crown that perfect sentence, or on running that last experiment when everyone else had retired for the night. Whoever said a scholar's work is never done didn't know the half of it. But it is also my decanal duty to elicit your sympathy for them because of what they have endured to get to this glorious day. At every family gathering, they have had to contend repeatedly with difficult questions such as, will you ever be done with that thesis? Or, what are you going to do with a degree in that? And they have also been reminded by their relatives on several occasions that their cousin Joey is a real doctor and he finished in just 4 years. For all of the above, I beseech you, Mr. President, to give them and their families occasion to rejoice by granting them these degrees along with the rights and privileges thereto attached.
The appropriate academic authorities have determined and have so reported to me those students who have satisfactorily completed the course of study prescribed by the faculty under which they have each been enrolled as a candidate for a university degree. In accordance with the authority vested in me as president of the university, I now admit each of you to the degree for which you have qualified, in token whereof you will subsequently receive your diploma. Thank you for being part of Columbia University, and congratulations to the class of 2021.
I'd do anything to be by your side. I travel the world, both far and wide, through gathering storms and the rising tide. Columbia, oh Columbia. Now the skies are the brightest blue. Voices echo down the avenue. It seems that everything reminds me of you. away.